Good evening, Shaggy SoCal with Too Old for Forza, and it's time for the next Trek guide for, what are we, season 30? I always forget the season we're in. But it's the Radical RXC season. That's all that's important. We just finished a race at Magello. This week, we are going to be racing and I say collective we, I won't, but next race is at the Nurburgring GP circuit. So again, like always, I'm just going to go out. I'm going to run an out lap. Then we'll do a kind of a slow turn by turn, you know, track walk, uh, pointing out the things I look for, kind of how I, approach this track, what my intentions are, and getting a quick lap and racing through it. And then I'll do a mock race against the AI, just to then see if there's other things that we can learn, places to pass, what maybe to watch out for. So, with that said, let's go ahead and get in test drive and do a lap. You're not running traction control that turn. I'd be very careful there. Almost. That's kind of an out lap, give you a general idea of what we're going to be talking about. So we'll go now slow lap. You're going to be probably in fifth gear at this point. Braking for turn one. And again, as you're coming down the front straight for turn one, you do have to talk and drive at the same time. There is that little bit of a kink in the front straightaway as it dives down into turn one. So your braking is going to be about the 100 board. Braking line's pretty accurate there. We're right about the start of the curbing. So bring it down to about second gear. And yeah, this one's pretty much, I follow the braking line all the way through. You can get on that a little bit and cross over it. The danger part is as you're getting back on the gas out of this hairpin, because it's such a tight corner, it's slow. You start to roll back into the throttle, it'd be very easy to spin the rear tires and get the back end loose. So just, if you're not running traction control, just be careful that, that the rears don't spin up through here as you get back on the power. It's not, again, for me, on a controller, it's easy enough for me to counter steer and work out of it. And the worst that happens is I just don't get as good of an exit out of the corner. I don't think it's possible to loop it through here. Maybe if you're running some steering on a wheel and you're too aggressive on the throttle, you might mistakenly loop it here. So, play around with that. Coming up through here, still second gear. I take this one in second. And same thing, kind of letting off the gas. You don't bring the car in. Again, this corner, as you can kind of see, you're kind of coming uphill and it crests as you exit. So, the back of the car is going to get a little unweighted. Again, not as bad as turn one, but another area where as you're rolling back into the throttle, and if you don't traction control, the rear tires may start to spin up on you. As far as coming out and using this exit curb, I would recommend against it. There's a couple of these exit curbs that this one that if you get on it, it's gonna rumble the car a bit on the right side, and it might unsettle a little bit, especially if you get on the curbing right as you're about to turn in for the next corner. Um, so again, rolling back on the throttle, second gear up to third, very briefly. Um, for the braking for this turn, what I'm looking for, in addition to the braking line, but just something else to kind of have to watch for, is you can kind of see, and I guess, let me get a little closer to this. I guess these are drainage, drainage gratings. So you see where the grating comes down, it's got that nice, that rectangular square thing, cement square. Usually for me, if I can't see the braking line, I'm looking for that. Because that kind of lines up with right as I pass that is right about where I'm going to be braking for the next corner. You're in third, back down to second, and if you can see on the track map, this turn, it's not an even hairpin. It's kind of a decreasing radius turn. It actually tightens up as you go into the corner, and if you look, then the next corner is a very sharp 90-degree right-hander. So this one you want to kind of go in a little bit wide, and the braking line's pretty good on this one as well. That it wants you to try and take a late apex. The danger is if you're in traffic and you're out wide enough, someone might try to stick their nose in there. So just be mindful of where traffic is, who's close to you. That would be a spot where someone might take a look, and it's a tempting one too, be it to dive in there and try to beat you to the apex. But again, wide entry, slowly bring it out. You want to late apex it almost at the end of the curbing here, so that as you're kind of exiting there, you're almost pointed straight across the track to the next corner. Now this one, this next corner, sometimes I follow the braking line, sometimes I turn in a little bit later. I think the braking line kind of wants you to kind of almost make a straight line across the track to the next apex there. I think for me, I like being a little bit wider of that and turning in later. And the reason being is this is another one, kind of like the one of the previous turns. This is another one where you're going to be kind of cresting up over a hill at apex and exiting out. And if there's any, I don't know how much crowning this track has, but it would put you off on an off-camber exit. But this next corner, I like to take it a little bit later, because then and I'll note it as I go on the exit. I like using the access road that's there to kind of extend the exit. But the trick with this one is you can use a little bit of this curb on the inside, but you really want to be careful. You don't want to get too far over, because you're kind of cresting that hill. It's enough of a hump as you're coming off the exit, where it will pitch the car sideways a little bit as you're trying to roll back into the throttle. So use a little bit of the curb, play around with that, but just know that if you really use if you this far over, what's probably going to happen is it's going to unsettle the car as you exit the corner, and it might then mess up your run down to the next as far as your exit speed, and it'll kill you at the next corner. But if you get it right and you're starting to roll back into the throttle, usually what I like to do is I play chicken with the line here. So I like to bring the car out so that I'm crossing this line just enough just to extend the exit, allows me to get back on the throttle a little bit sooner. I am playing chicken with time penalties. It's very easy to, especially if the hump at the apex of the previous turn unsettles the car, it's very easy to if you're trying to hustle and make up for a loss of grip, to cross this line and dirty your lap and maybe get a time penalty. So just know it is here. I mean, if you watch onboards of races, GT races, when they're doing the GP plus Nordschleife, they're constantly extending out past this. But yeah, you can get most of the car. You can get most of the car over. Like I'm, you know, 2/3 or 3/4 of the way over the line, and it hasn't dinged me yet. It's not going to ding you until, yeah. So it's not dinging you until your left side tires essentially are. Let me see if I can. Yeah, you pretty much have to have your car on that line or past it before it's going to ding you. So just know for that one, you've got more room than you think. But usually, I would say just bring the car out halfway. And again, you don't want to be out here too long because you can see it'll go back to this kind of astroturfish kind of material than into grass. So really, just start bringing the car back over as soon as you can. So let's see. That's second gear, third gear, fourth gear. As you're coming down here. These next two turns, it's a left-right combo. Again, again, much like Mugello, the first turn in this combo is not as important as the second one. The second one is actually a really tight turn. In my own test laps, you're in fourth gear at this point, and this will be up to you to decide what's most comfortable. You can downshift for this first corner down to third. And then for the next sharper corner, you can downshift to second. That's one option as far as gearing. You can leave it in fourth through here for this corner, downshift to third for the second corner. Or you can even just downshift to third for here for this first corner and then just leave it in third for the second corner. So really, there's three gearing options. I don't think one is better than the other. I think for me, it's a situational thing. I think my habit will probably be is I will probably either leave it in fourth for this corner and downshift for third for the second one, or I'll downshift to third and leave it in third. If I'm on my own running laps. If I'm finding I'm getting caught up in traffic, I'll probably be in second gear for the second sharper corner. So this is one of those two areas, and there's at least one or two others around where, you've got a choice of gearing. It's just how do you feel? How comfortable are you? Which gearing works best for you. So let you guys figure that out. Braking for me, again, I'm a controller 200 brake pressure. If I can't see the braking line, I'm looking at where that white line for this access, this crossover road here, where that's meeting the white line here. Like that's usually a good reference point. If I can't see the braking line, I know I have to brake there at the latest. If I go past that, chances are it's too late and I'm going to go off in the gravel. So brake here, very nice corner, park it in. And again, because it's just a quick short shoot, you don't have to go all the way out to the right side. I kind of keep it about the middle so you can just start bringing the car back across. And then braking for here, again, second or third, depending on your pleasure. Late apex, the braking line actually wants you to do a late apex and do it. I would be careful with this curbing. Actually, I think I should have pointed. Well, turn one is not as bad. It's pretty obvious that the inside, if you get back on the power too quickly on that curbing, the back end's going to unsettle. This inside curbing here as well. As you're trying to roll back into power, as you're turning in, if you just get on that curbing, it is enough to nudge the car around a little bit. And again, the back might rotate a little bit more than you might expect if you get on the curbing. You may even want that depending on, if you've messed up the corner entry and you need to try and recover. You might want to try that. But just understand this inside curbing is a little treacherous if you just barely touch it as you're trying to roll out of the corner. Let's see. So third gear, up to fourth. I'm not sure if you get back to fifth or not. Braking for this hairpin. I will have, I think the normal line I try to take through here, first off, I'm going to brake right about where the braking line tells me to, but it usually lines up with the beginning of this outside curbing. The braking line wants you to kind of do a traditional, kind of straight parallel with the left side of the course to brake and then turn in for the hairpin. I tend not to do that. This is, kind of my habit with the AI where I'll actually brake diagonally across to get to the apex. It's partly because it kind of gets me in that habit, because what I would probably do if I was going to try and uh, outbreak somebody into this corner. It's also a subtle defensive move if maybe there's someone that's coming up on me where I think they might take a look, but if I'm kind of cheating already to take a different line in, as long as I'm not doing that when they're like right on my back corner, that would be bad. That would be unsportsmanlike. Um, so, but again, my normal line, I like you know taking a straight or diagonal line into the apex. This is another one where I think when I was first starting to do laps, I was in second gear through here. I've been actually doing it in third. Again, your preference, and for me, it might even be situational. On my own, with clear road in front of me, I'll probably be in third. If I'm in traffic and I'm trying to work my way through traffic, pardon me, um, I'll probably drop it to second. Again, inside curbing, I try and stay off of it. On the exit, you can, if you want to extend, you can roll up onto this exit curbing. This isn't all that horrible, especially once you get it and you're straight on it. It's not going to unsettle the car. You notice there's really no ridges there. You've got the rain gutter, and then you've got the AstroTurf to the left, but it's not going to buck the car around at all. So you can get on here a little bit if you need to and bring the car back across. Schumacher S. This is going to be interesting. I think from a racing standpoint, last time we raced here was in the Ferrari P3s, and these next two corners were the corners I was paying attention the most to what was going on with people in front of me. If I was catching people, this is where I would be looking to say, all right, let me see if I can set up a pass through here. I think this is going to cause the most issues for everybody, and it's probably the best place to kind of prep and set up a pass. So if you can get this consistent, look for other people to mess up and look for opportunities here. I think I made the bulk of my pass in the Ferrari on the exit of the Schumacher S. But here's going to be the fun part. Ideally, I'll be, and I don't have a preference on this one either. You can take the entry, this first part of the Schumacher S, you can take it in third or fourth. I think that's up to you. The challenge is, if you absolutely get the line right and the turn in perfect, and you can take it flat. But it's one of those, you can take it flat, but I think it's sketchy enough where just a slight lift, and then as soon as you turn the car in and you're solidly in on the corner, then you can get right back on the gas. But play around with that. It is possible to do this flat. It's not easy. Now, that's me on a controller. For you guys on the wheel users, again, this is probably one of the areas where the wheel users, you guys have a little more of an advantage on the fidelity of your turn in, as far as the precision of it. Controller, not so much comparatively. So what I try to do is as I bring the car back over, third or fourth gear, doesn't matter. I try to, as I'm getting to this one board here, I'll actually bring the car up onto the exit curb, or not the exit curb, the entry curb, the right side curbing here, just to kind of just even open this first turn up just that little bit more. I think I get target fixated on the braking line, so I don't know, I haven't correlated that, where that lines up with the inside curbing, where that starts or not. Usually I am focused on where the braking line turns red, or at least for me, since I don't run the full line where it's turning yellow into red. And that's kind of what I target as far as where I'm going to aim for. So usually it's third gear. If you're doing it in third, you're going to be almost right at you're not going to be at red line. You'll be a little above red line. You might, if you've got a good run out of the hairpin, you'll probably be close to the rev limiter if you're in third. By the time you turn in, that might help as well as sort out the timing. But usually I'll be up on this curbing for half second or so. turn the car in. Again, might be a quick lift as on entry. Again, this curbing, you can get on it a little bit. It's not going to unsettle the car all that much. At least in my testing, it didn't. Third gear, you might be at a good point, then you might go up to fourth at this point. Again, you can get on that inside curb a little bit if you need to. And then the outside curbing as well, you can get on that blind. But again, when you're in the race, I think that those two turns is, I think there's going to be enough of a difference where if you can sort the timing out, either I think the safest place to make passes sort the timing out so that as you're exiting, as the guy in front of you is exiting out that's going slower than you because they didn't get it right, that you've got the run that either you're going to be able to get the run and be on the right side heading down the stretch and have the ideal line and hopefully be ahead of them to where then you can take the normal line through the next corner, or maybe they've messed up the first part and as they're turning in for the second, you can hang the car on the outside a little bit and be side by side through on the outside here. Again, this car's got crap tons of downforce. We'll see if I can do it again. I ran a short practice race last night, and actually with the AI, I was actually hanging it on the outside of the first part of the Schumacher S to get past them. So it's going to be, I think that's where most of the action is going to be. It's going to be interesting to see how you guys handle that in the race. But anyhow, you're in fourth gear at this point. Let me drop it down so I go a little quicker. Down here, bring the car back across. Braking for this turn, I think it's about where the 100 board is, right about where, the exit pier, the track on the right side, kind of then transitions to the AstroTurfy stuff. It's going to be the braking there. I've been putting it down into third. And again, this inside curbing is pretty forgiving if you get on it a little bit. Not a big deal. Keep it in third, bring it out, bring it back across. This turn, I do kind of follow what the braking line is doing. The only other reference that I've noticed, in my own driving that kind of at least helps me guide when I'm really committing to the turn in, is you can kind of see the red flag there. That seems to, at least for me, as that's going out of view, that seems to line up just as that goes out of view of where you're doing the turn in. And the braking line wants you to do a late apex on this one, late turn in, late apex, so you can roll back into the throttle and bring it out. You can use a bit of this exit curve as well. Back up to second, to third, to fourth. Now, this is the other thing, you're going to have a choice. As you bring the car through the kink here, again, this car has so much downforce. I don't think you have to use all the track. I don't think you need to go all the way out. I think you can almost take any line you want through there. Through here, you want to bring it to mid-track. Do you want to go all the way left? That's up to you. Do you want to keep it a little more to the right side? That's up to you. I don't think I don't think there's any advantage on the exit line there. You can wind it up. You can wind it up into fourth, up to the braking zone. You won't hit the rev limiter. At least I don't remember that you will. You won't. Hashtag me personally. I actually, for braking, I like putting it in fifth as I hit the apex of the kink there. It makes, for me, the car seems to set better under braking, downshifting. If I'm in fifth gear, downshifting down to second for the chicane, the car seems to take a set better than if I'm winding it up in fourth and all of a sudden trying to slow the car down. So it's just something in how the gearing is, having the car wound up high in a gear as you're getting into the brakes and then needing to downshift versus being up a gear that's a little bit lower. The car just seems to settle a little bit better. So that's been my experience. But again, either way, play around with that. The other thing I want to point out here is, and I didn't mention this in the chat yet because I wanted to confirm this, daytime settings for Nurburgring GP. This is the better of the two. This is the pleasant one. This is where the sun's very high in the sky and very nice and sunny out. The other one is a bitch because the sun is straight ahead just beneath the mirror and blinds you going up this this back straightaway. So I would say again, my experiment with that is if you find that when you get into warm up for the race, and when Matt loads in, sets the lobby up in his, if you guys find that you're practicing and it's all like bright sunny out, try the experiment, switch to a completely different track, and then immediately reload back in to see if that trades off. Because my remembrances is because when I ran this last night, I had the sun in my eyes for this part, and I hadn't loaded back in until this evening, and it's now the nice sunny. So I don't know. The other thing too is this might be just because of the risk of having the sun there. This might be night race, and who knows? Matt may just decide that he wants to make it a rain race. Heaven forbid. So just kind of be ready for anything on that one. I think for sake of this example, I'm just going to keep it the day race. But if it's the day race and if you've got the sun in your eyes, you're going to be racing down here. If you've got the braking line on, you'll see it pretty well. But where you're going to brake at least for me, again, I'm on a controller, 200 brake pressure on the setup. Where I'm braking is right about where the 100 board is. So that's the other thing. If the sun, because you're going to be staring straight at the sun with cars in front of you, you can't tell where they're at. I have been able to keep my eyes, and it's really, I can't read the 100 as it's going by, but it's usually, again, as you'll see, you have the access road there with where the 150 board is. So think 1 and then 2. So the second whiteboard, as you're getting to that one, if you can't see the braking line on track because of the sun glare, you should be able to see the outline of that 100 board. So it's just that second whiteboard brake. And then for me, again, I'm in 5th. I'm down, 4th, 3rd, 2nd. And for this final chicane, go ahead and use the curbing. If you do it, for me, how I do it is I want to take enough momentum through the corner so that I'm not really getting back on the throttle at all until I'm past the apex there and I've got the car mostly straight. This is another one of those weird ones where the car might get a little unsettled, or you're trying to get back to the throttle and you can spin the rear tires up if you're not running traction control, or traction control kicks in and then it kills your exit speed. So just, again, it's just a quick. You can use a bit of the curbing there. Again, if you notice, this curbing has got ridges. Probably not a good idea to get on it. And heading into the final turn. And all the way out, I don't have a definitive, other than, I don't have any other, this is another one of those where I haven't found any static reference aside from the braking line to say brake here if you can't see the braking line. I think a lot of it's done by feel, but it's somewhere between kind of where, let me back this up a little bit. Whoops, reverse. Yeah, I mean, it's you'll see the pit lane there. Well, we'll keep an eye on it during the race, but I'm thinking like somewhere maybe 2/3 or 3/4 of the way up where the inside pit lane striping starts going striped, red to white. It's about halfway, 2/3 of the way up. It's not all the way up. I'm going to move over. Not all the way up here where you see the curbing. That's way too late, but it's just a little bit before that. That's about the best reference I can give you, besides the braking line. But as you watch, if you stick around for the mock race, you can kind of see where I'm braking at in relation to that, and then as you're doing your own practice, kind of sort out where it works best for you. So for the final turn, I think this is one you can do in 2nd or 3rd. I like 2nd. And again, it's kind of that, when I always talk about, sometimes the gearing, sometimes you want the car on its nose a little bit more, sometimes you want it on its heels. This is one, I think, for me, I like it in 2nd gear. I like having a little bit more of that engine braking, having a little bit more, the nose a little bit more sensitive as far as the turn in, versus 3rd. But braking line's pretty good here as well as far as the line. Again, it's a little bit wider of an entry with the late apex. Be careful of this inside curving. It is enough if you touch it as you're trying to roll, because you're trying to roll back into the throttle here. If you touch it, it will unsettle the back of the car a little bit. And also, if you're going to do it in second or third, be careful how quickly you get back to the throttle. You can also spin the tires up that way as well. And then as you come back onto the front straightaway, again, if you really get it wrong, you have to get on that curbing, it's fine. But again, it's ridged. It's going to unsettle the car a little bit on the left side. And then you're back out, back up to speed, down the front straightaway. And that's a lap of the Nurburgring GP. If the other thing, if you notice, is I'm slowly letting the car come across to the middle of the track. And it's mainly setting up for the first turn, because if I don't touch the wheel at all, my line's going to bring me right back out to where the to where I need to be, where I need the car positioned for turn one. So, there's a way to line it up with the Mercedes-Benz grandstand there, where you can kind of, hey, if I'm coming out of the turn, I'm kind of pointed towards that, it's going to bring me out a little bit towards the middle of the track, just by the natural curving, but then it'll, the track comes back to you by the time you need to brake. It'll also kind of give the impression, if you're following somebody and they're doing that, it may look like they're trying to block you, but that just may be them taking that line down into this corner. So there it is. So that's the slow lap. What I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to finish the test drive, and we'll go in and we'll do a mock race based off my own testing as far as the times I'm putting in or like that. I'm doing a 19 lap race. I think that's about half distance. Again, so if I have to double it, that's what 19, that's what 38 laps. I don't know if it'll be that high. It might be, but expect maybe 36 laps for a race, 36 to 38. I don't think it would go much higher than that. But it's going to be a long race. But with that, I'm going to quit talking here, and I'm going to go ahead and start up this race. Since I have a minute, I'm going to get a little drink here. Again, same opponents, same time delays. Got the Forza P2. They're going to be my jam cars. Whole bunch of them, followed by early prototypes, and then the Forza P1. Pacing wise, I think at least lap times, obviously quicker than the P2s. The early prototypes, or the prototype racing group, no, these are early prototypes. The prototype racing group is the like the Lolas and the Can-Am stuff. These guys are about, I think when they get on their own, they're right about the pace that I'll be running at as far as fastest laps. P1s are definitely quicker. But again, it's going to be really about, they're going to get bogged down in traffic, because the AI is not always as brazen as we are as far as attempting passes or looking for opportunities. So, all right, go racing. So the back end wants to kick out. I'm gonna do a little wheel spin there as well. Quick brake, roll back in. I'm not going to try this flat yet. But it's just a quick lift. Again, the setup on this car, for me, it likes to push when you're on throttle. especially trying to force it through a turn like that. So just that quick lift will give you enough drift to get into the corner that you can get right back on throttle. So I don't know that there's much of an advantage of trying to do the Schumacher S flat. Just know if you're daring, it's possible. Now that outside curve just unsettles the car just a little bit. It's not as heinous as I thought it was, but I'm talking. I should have been in 5th gear at that point. That's late. And because it's late, they go off. That would have been a penalty. Going forth a little bit earlier there too. And again, at least braking for that turn, I'm braking a little bit later than the one board. It looks like it's about where that the asphalt on the right side there turns to that green astroturf stuff. Go down to 2nd here. Oop, 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 oop. I'm a little late on the turn in there. That is where that underboard is. Don't you dirty that my lap, you stupid Sauber. Not gonna get many chances for clean laps. The exit of that corner is off camber. Just be careful rolling back into the throttle. turned a little bit too early there. But ooh. Gave it a little bit too much gas and ooh, Nissan into the barriers. Not you, Josh. $52.30. Almost. Back end look a little squirrely there. You can shift it if you want to short shift to third a little early. Probably won't hurt you all that much. Off a little bit because they're going to be slow. They're at the run. Now, AI might brake check here. Nope, they held it. Sometimes they get a little skittish when someone's on the outside of them through that kink, and the inside guy then checks up. Whoops, excuse me. Second gear. So you can do that in third as well. I just, for whatever reason, I like second. I think the car gets off the corner better. He's holding me up. I gotta get by. I'm gonna try and set him up for the next left-hander here. Oh, I hesitated. Gonna have to go down the hairpin. Damn, that Corvette's got. I'm faster than him, but it's just he's just got enough straight line. All right, maybe I can get a better run out of the next corner. Don't do that. Tried to stuff pass. Finally. But at least the Audi's being held up in front of me too, so... Oh, no you don't. I didn't time that right. I didn't time it at all. Back end just likes to start to rotate a little bit through that corner in second. And then we're going to go ahead and just, again, go ahead and box this lap. And I'll try and check tire wear on the back stretch. But I think it's similar to what I've seen at other tracks. I think in fuel-wise, the car will easily, that was a bad exit. The car should go easily half distance. You might even be able to do close to 30 laps or more. But tire wear, you're going to have to pit before that. So I think it's pretty consistent with the other races. How big of a run I get on the Porsche here. Yeah, I'm going for it. Oh, yeah, over 30% fuel. I didn't catch the tire word, but that's okay. I'm fitting anyway. Okay, pit lane, be very, very careful. Because it's not going to catch you till there. So where I'm braking for the pit lane, as you go into pit lane, you have the point there on the left side. Between that and then that curbing I was pointing out earlier, definitely brake about halfway between that to get the car slowed down or the corner to where it catches you. But definitely practice that, because your instinct might be the pit lane's going to catch you sooner. It's not going to catch you until you get to where the Armco barrier starts and where the tires are. So just be mindful of that. And time in pits looks like it's going to be about, 45 seconds? 42 seconds. And coming down for turn one, stay to the right of the white line. Oh, that was bad. That was very irresponsible of me. I was paying too much attention to what I was trying to say and not what I was trying to do. Yeah, stay to the right of the white line. There is that parallel line that comes out that kind of marks, the exit, the blend line. You want it, if you wait till that to brake, it's too late. You're going to have to brake a little bit before it if you're going to hold the inside line to make the corner. And otherwise, you're going to do what I just did and, almost take out two cars in turn one. But even then, when I realized that I wasn't going to make the corner, that I was going to push wide anyway, might as well just release the brakes, shoot past the apex, and hopefully get clear of the other two cars so that I'm the only one that gets hurt by my own mistake. And back in last place, so... see how many positions we can make up in 9 laps. Now, there's still a lot of people. I think half the field still needs to pit. And they certainly don't help their cause when they clobber the tire barriers and make very questionable rejoins. Just a nice sounding engine. But yeah, as you kind of exit over the hump there, the back end's going to get a little loose. Oh, big run. Yeah, I took a look. Probably shouldn't have. But it was a Peugeot. And for whatever reason, I think I've tangled with a Peugeot at every single track guide I've done this season. So par for the course. Turning a little bit early. Ooh, a little bit wide there. Even there, I didn't, the turn in, let's say you come off the throttle, you don't have to come all the way off the throttle, just enough to give the front tires the bite they need to turn into the Schumacher S. Of course, 410's then catching slower. Don't pick up the draft, please don't pick up the draft, please don't pick up the draft. There we go, 155. There's still time out there. I ran a 50.2 dirty. Just don't think I'm going to get a clean lap between now and the end of the race. This is going to be dicey. See if I can set him up for the... Yeah, no, didn't get a good exit there. But really, it's going to be the Schumacher S. There we go. That's what I was talking about earlier. Getting a good run and then just setting up on the outside and it's going to be ugly. Big traffic jam here. Meg's getting a little impatient. Ooh, left the door open. Thank you very much. I'll take that one. It's like the AI just can't quite figure out how to race each other through that chicane. Ooh, sorry. Oh, wow. Wonder what happened there. I'll take the positions. Three laps. Depending on who has to fit, should pick up a few more, but I don't think I'm gonna get 9 positions in 3 laps. Well, maybe a top 5. Let's aim for a top 5. Definitely Muppet there in the lead. He's got a pit. He's way too far out. Too early on the turn in there. I'll hold off a LMP1 Porsche. Good thing he's slow through the Schumacher S. Oh, that was risky. Yeah. Yeah, be careful with that move. It's so tempting, but it's such a low percentage move. It's either, if you're gonna try and pass them, you know, going into that first part of the S maybe on the inside, but certainly trying to stick it, there on the inside and this for the second part of that S. Probably not a good idea. We'll get your nose chopped off. The top 5. I should get a good run on out of the S's here. That could have been a little bit more graceful. Whew. A bit more traffic than I was expecting. So I'd imagine, I ran a 150.2 dirty. There's probably on an absolute perfect lap, probably a 49, a high 49 in there. Still probably run a 49.8 before the race is over. But that's Nurburgring GP. Again, just from a general thing, expect somewhere 36 to 38 laps, depending on how Matt calculates out your bucket times. I had the favorable sun for this race. There is one that the sun is really bad, so hopefully you guys don't get that. And it wouldn't surprise me if this is actually a night race, or Matt decides to throw rain in there just to eliminate the possibility of glare from the sun. So it's all on the table there. But that's Nürburgring GP. Hope you guys have a great weekend and happy racing.